If you do a Google search right now for why you should start a podcast, this is the kind of thing that comes up. People listen to podcasts longer. They develop a more intimate relationship with you with podcasts. It's easier to make than video and scalable as well. Podcasting fits into people's lives. It is hard not to get excited about the prospects. But how is listening longer or being part of their lives going to help you? A far better question is not what a podcast can do, but what you need it to do. And the only way to work that out is to ask yourself the question, why am I making one? When I ask people this question, most people answer with something fairly vague about promotion or marketing. But if I want to reach C-suite executives, there's little point recording a 2-hour rambling discussion because you heard interview shows make good podcasts. Our C-suite executive will probably want a 10 to 15-minute news update on their industry instead. Now, if your aim is to network, and that's the main priority for quite a few people I've met in my research, then an interview might work better. It's no coincidence that when Mozilla, a company whose brand is all about protecting your privacy, launched a podcast called In Real Life, every episode was about freedom and data protection in some way. They knew why they were doing it and they knew who they wanted to reach. And if you don't know why, then nor will your audience. Why changes everything. Dan Norris's book, Content Machine, if you haven't read it, it is a great book, has a question right near the start that says, how do you define yourself? I'm paraphrasing heavily here, but are you trying to make a podcast or make a business? If it's a business, then vague goals are just not going to work. And I know that personally because 10 years ago, I launched a YouTube channel. It entertained 1.6 million people, but it cost me personally thousands of British pounds of my own money. I had perfectly targeted the wrong audience because I didn't ask the question, why am I doing this? And wait long enough to understand the answer. So this is the question I asked when I designed the latest test show for the Can I Make a Hit podcast project. I won't delay you with what I found in that process. It's all in the podcast this week if you're interested in that. But the questions determined the content. And it's not that hard. In fact, you know what? Let's do it right now. Give me 10 seconds of your time, okay? So shut your eyes or glaze over and look into space if you want to, and imagine what it will look like when your podcast is a success. And as you picture that, what can you see? How is it serving you or helping you? Is it marketing your brand? Is it connecting you to lots of people? Are people listening to your show and booking you as a consultant or signing up to your campaign? And if you did that right, you'll also have seen the proof that you need to know it worked. That's what your podcast needs to deliver. Now, I have a few more questions to think about again in this week's podcast based on my research studying successful podcasters, if you would like to follow that full tutorial through. But here's a final thought. Do you even need a podcast? If your aim is to get noticed, then find a protest march. Go up to a journalist with a camera reporting live and say something controversial. Burst into tears or strip naked. That'll get people's attention. It is far quicker than making a podcast. When I started that YouTube project, I wished I'd asked why and waited until I really knew the answer, because things could have worked out very, very differently.